Om Sri Sai Ram. We are starting the first chapter of the syllabus called Relations and Functions. As such, you are familiar with this particular topic as you study the basics of it in 11th standard. And much before that chapter, you also study about set theory. We will quickly revise through what you learnt and then we will take up the topic of 12th standard or second PUC. How do we define a set? We say set is a well-defined class or collection of objects. In order to represent sets, we generally use capital letters. Let us say, for example, we have two sets here. This is how we represent a set. This is one type of representation of set which is called roster form, where we write all the elements one after the other by putting commas in between them. After learning sets, subsets, various types of sets, we come to set operations. In set operations, we have got basically three operations you study. One is called union. What is union of two sets? Suppose A and B are two sets, then A union B is another set which contain the elements which are in A or in B or in both. For example, here A union B is equal to elements which are in A, that is 1, 2, which are in B, that is 4, which are in both. So, this is how we write union of two sets. Now, we define intersection of two sets. Suppose A is a set, B is another set. What is A intersection B? Elements which are present in both, elements which are common to both. So, we write A intersection B as 3, because 3 is the element which is common to both of them. Then we study about difference of two sets. How do you find difference of two sets? A is a set, B is another set. A difference B is a set which contains the elements which are in A but not in B. So, we say A difference B is equal to 1, 2. You can also write B difference A saying that it is 4 elements which are in B but not in A. So, these are the things we study in set theory. And then we move to the next topic called relations and functions. And in relations, we begin with something called Cartesian product. What happens if you multiply two sets? Suppose A is a set and B is another set. If you multiply both of them, we get ordered pairs. So, how do we define Cartesian product? A is a set, B is another set, then A cross B is a set of all possible ordered pairs. Why do we say ordered pairs? It is not any pair. In every pair which you are writing, the first element should be from first set, second element should be from the second set. So, if I want to write what A cross B, how do I write? I will say A cross B is equal to, make the pairs taking first element from first set. So, it is 1 comma 3, 1 comma 4, 2 comma 3, 2 comma 4, 3 comma 3, 3 comma 4. This is called Cartesian product. After learning Cartesian product, we come to relation. What is relation? In a very simple terms, it is defined as it is a subset of Cartesian product. So, in the relation, you will find the elements which are already existing in A cross B. You can define relation in your own way. For example, you can say equal to. When we say equal to, what we actually mean is the first element is equal to second element. So, if that is one relation, we will say, let us say we call it R1. So, what will be the elements? Here where the elements are equal, we have 3 comma 3. This is one relation. You can take another relation, let us say less than. What do you mean by that? First element is less than the second element. So, collect all ordered pairs in which first element is smaller than the second. So, let us say we call it R2. So, we have 1 comma 3, 1 comma 4, 2 comma 3, 2 comma 4 and 3 comma 4. All these are part of it. You can define any number of relations from this Cartesian product. You can say greater than, you can say square root, you can say square of, you can define any number of relations from the same Cartesian product. But what is important to know? Relation is a subset of Cartesian product. After learning relation, we have studied about domain of a relation. We are talking about a relation from one set to another set. We are talking about relation between set A to set B, then set A is called domain of the relation and set B is called codomain of the relation. Remember, all the first elements are going to be from A, the second elements are going to be from B. So, this is what we have studied last year. Now, we proceed to learn about types of relations. In relations, we have got various types and some of them are very, very important. So, we will study about that right now. So, let us come the first definition. A relation R in set A. One very important thing which we have to learn before we go to define relations is, it is not necessary that you find a relation from one set to another set. We know that between one family and another family there is a relationship, but even among the members of the family there is a relation. Father and son, daughter and mother, son and mother, so many relations can be there in one set itself, one family itself. So, whenever we talk about relation, it is not necessary that you need to have two different sets. It can be two different sets, but it can be from one set to itself. In set A elements of set A to set elements of set A. So, both the types are correct and whichever way you wish you can define. So, let us come to the definition. So, the definition says a relation, we generally represent relation by R. Remember, capital R is also used for real numbers whenever we talk about sets. Here R is representing relation. A relation R in set A is called empty relation if no element of A is related to any element of A. There is no relationship between the elements, then we call it empty relation. Second definition is about where you find every element is related to every other element. We call it universal relation. A relation R in set A is called universal relation if every element in first set is related to every element in set A. For example, let us say this whole world and God is the creator. We know that each one of us are connected to God and God is connected to each one of us. So, this kind of relation between people and God is a universal relation. Whereas, when we talk about empty set, just imagine, take an example for empty set. Let us say we have a boys' hostel. Now, let us say we say A, find sister of A. So, you know that in the boys' hostel, girls are not going to be there. So, you cannot find sister of A in that particular hostel. So, such relations are called empty relations. These things just for knowing sake, but we come to the actual definitions or the very, very important relations. Among the important relations, we have got three. The first one is called reflexive relation. What is this reflexive relation? A relation R in set A is called reflexive if the element is related to itself. So, how do you write? R is called reflexive if A belongs to R, for all A belongs to set A. Example, suppose you have got set of lines and suppose you are talking about parallel lines. We know that every line is parallel to itself. Suppose you are talking about numbers, natural numbers, and suppose the relation you are talking about in set of natural numbers is about equal to. We know that 2 is equal to 2, 3 is equal to 3, 4 is equal to 4, 10 is equal to 10. So, such relations are called reflexive if element A is related to itself. If element A is related to itself in the set, the relation is called reflexive, and it should be true for all the elements of the set. Okay. From there we move to the second relation, which is called symmetric. Remember, reflexive relation we talk about one element. Symmetric relation we talk about two elements. After this we are going to talking about transitive relation, where we will be talking about three elements. So, let us say A1 and A2 are two elements. So, when we talk about symmetric relation, we generally take two elements. Let us say A1 and A2 are two elements of set A. What does the symmetric relation says? If A1 is related to A2 with some relation, A2 is also related to A1 with same relation. Something like Ram is brother of Mohan. So, we know that Mohan is also brother of Ram. In terms of geometry, suppose you are talking about two lines. Suppose we say L1 is perpendicular to L2. If line L1 is perpendicular to L2, we know that L2 is also perpendicular to L1. Such relations are called symmetric relations. From here we move to the third relation, which is called transitive. And to define transitive relation, we need to take three elements into consideration. So, suppose you have got three elements A1, A2, A3 all belong to set A. In whatever way A1 is related to A2, comma, which is the same way as A2 is related to A3, this implies that in the same manner A1 will be related to A3 for all A1, A2, A3 belong to A. Whichever way the first element is related to second element, whichever way second element is related to third element, the same way the first element is related to third element, and such relations are called transitive. Let us say we have got three triangles. One is triangle ABC, another is triangle PQR, third is triangle XYZ. Suppose triangle ABC is congruent to triangle PQR, and suppose triangle PQR in turn is congruent to triangle XYZ. Then we can conclude that the first triangle is congruent to third triangle. What we are trying to say? Triangle ABC is congruent to triangle PQR, and triangle PQR is congruent to triangle XYZ. First triangle is congruent to second triangle is congruent to third triangle. In conclusion, we can say that first triangle will be congruent to third triangle. If that happens, we say the relation is that of transitive nature for all the elements. So, the conclusion is triangle ABC is congruent to triangle XYZ. Once again, let us quick look about all the three relations. Reflexive relation is about one element. Symmetric relation is about two elements, and transitive relation is about three elements. What does the first relation says? Every element is related to itself. The relation is called reflexive if A is related to A, and that should be true for all the elements of the set. What is symmetric relation? We say that one element is related to another element, then if the second element is also related to first element with the same relation, the relation is called symmetric. If A1, A2 belongs to relation, A2, A1 also belongs to relation set. Third one, we take three elements into consideration. A1 is related to A2, A2 is related to A3, then the conclusion is A1 will be related to A3. Suppose in a given set, for a given relation, all these three things are true. There is a set A and it has got some elements and he has defined some relation. Relation can be any type. He can say equal to, he can say greater than, he can say smaller than, he can say LCM of, he can say HCF of, he can say congruency, he can say similarity. Relations can be of infinite types. But for given relation, if R is reflexive, symmetric as well as transitive, if all the three things happen, we come to the next definition which says the relation is called equivalence relation. So, what is equivalence relation? A relation R in set A is said to be equivalence relation if R is reflexive, symmetric and transitive. An example in order to understand. Suppose we have a set T which has got triangles T1, T2, T3, etc. And what does he say? R is a relation in T given that R equal to T1, T2. How does he define? You can say this is a set, you can take it, and let us say R is defined as T1 comma T2 such that T1 is congruent to T2 for all T1, T2, T3, etc. belongs to A. It is true for all the elements of the set. This is how we want to check, is it reflexive? Can we say it is reflexive, this particular relation? We can say that yes, R is reflexive. Why R is reflexive? R is reflexive because T1 is related to T1 for all T1 belongs to A. We know that every triangle is congruent to itself. So, we say that the relationship is that of reflexivity. Then, is it symmetric? Take any two triangles. When you say triangle 1 is symmetric to triangle 1 is congruent to triangle 2, we know that triangle 2 is also congruent to triangle 1. So, we say that it is symmetric. R is symmetric. Why? Because if T1 is related to T2, this implies that T2 also is related to T1. What is the relation here? Congruency. So, for all T1 comma T2 belongs to A. If first triangle T1 is congruent to second triangle T2, we conclude that second triangle T2 is also congruent to first triangle T1. And it is true for all. If T1 is congruent to T3, T3 is congruent to T1. So, it is also symmetric. Now, let us check whether it is transitive. Yes, of course, it is transitive. How do you know? R is transitive because if T1 is congruent to T2, remember relation is what? Congruency. If T1 is congruent to T2, comma, T2 is congruent to T3, this implies that T1 will be congruent to T3 for all T1, T2, T3 belongs to R, belongs to A. For all the sets, if first triangle is congruent to second triangle, if second triangle is congruent to third triangle, we can conclude that the first triangle will be congruent to third triangle. Take some numbers, let us say 2, 3, 4. 2 is smaller than 3. 3 is smaller than 4. You can conclude that 2 is smaller than 4, transitive. So, we find that in a given set A of triangles, for the given relation R, which is about congruency, we conclude that the congruency is an equivalence relation. Congruency is an equivalence relation. Why? Because it is reflexive, it is symmetric, as well as it is transitive. So, this is the definition of equivalence relation. These are various types of relations which we study in this particular chapter, and now we will take up problems of the first exercise of this particular chapter. We will solve some of the problems in order to understand these concepts well. Okay. So, the first problem says determine whether each of the following relations are reflexive, symmetric or transitive. You have to find out whether it is reflexive, symmetric or transitive. Let us write the first problem, problem number 1, first bit. It says relation R in set A equal to, what are the elements of set? He says numbers, natural numbers starting from 1 up to 14. These are the numbers. And how does he define? He defines it R equal to x comma y such that 3x minus y equal to 0. We have to check whether R is reflexive, whether R is symmetric, whether R is transitive. How do we do that? He has given the set in roster form, whereas he has given the relation in set builder form. Suppose if you are able to write relation also in roster form, how do you write? Simply keep substituting values for x, you will keep getting values for y. What is the relation here? 3x minus y equal to 0 can be written as y is equal to 3x. Keep substituting x equal to 1, you will get R in roster form. Substitute 1, so you will get, when you substitute 1, you get y as 3. Substitute 2, you will get 6. Substitute 3, you will get 9. Substitute 4, you will get 12. You cannot substitute any other number. Why? Because both x and y should be from the same set. Suppose if you substitute 5, you are going to get 5 into 3, 15, which is not there in the set. You cannot simply substitute 0 because 0 is not there in the set. So, these are the only possible ordered pairs of this relation. And now it is very, very easy to say whether it is reflexive or not, symmetric or not, transitive or not. When do we say symmetric? Look at the elements, the first elements 1, 2, 3, 4. Do you have 1 1? Do you have 2 2? Do you have 3 3? Do you have 4 4? None. So we say that R is not reflexive. See, there are two very important things which you have to keep in mind for solving problems. If you have to prove that it is true, you cannot take example. If you have to prove it is not true, one example is enough. For example, here we find that we don't have 1 1, 2 2, 3 3, 4 4, etc. So it is not reflexive. You don't need to give such long explanation. We will say R is not reflexive. Why it is not reflexive? As 1 comma 1 does not belong to R. 1 is an element, but 1 is not related to 1. So it is not reflexive. What about symmetric? One pair is 1 3. Do you have 3 1? You don't have 3 1. So it is not symmetric also. As I mentioned, in order to deny, one example is enough. So we will say R is not symmetric as 1 comma 3 belongs to R, but 3 comma 1 does not belong to R. 1 comma 3 is an element, no doubt, but in the same set you don't find 3 comma 1. So the conclusion is given relation is not symmetric. What about transitivity? Once again, 1 is related to 3. Do you find a pair where 3 is related to something? Yes, we have got 3 related to 9. 1 is related to 3, 3 is related to 9. Do you find 1 is related to 9? No. So we say it is not transitive. So R is not transitive. Why it is not transitive? As 1 comma 3, 3 comma 9 belongs to R, but 1 comma 9 does not belong to R. 1 is related to 3, 3 is related to 9, but 1 is not related to 9. So we say that R is not transitive. So the given relation R for a given set A, it is neither reflexive nor symmetric nor transitive. This is how we analyze. Remember that in this exercise problems, you have to think. You have to give answers logically. There is not much calculations involved, but you have to think and come out with logical answers in order to solve the problems. Let us take up the next bit of the same problem, the second bit. Next one says A is equal to numbers 1 to 6. And what is the relation? Y is divisible by X. Y is divisible by X means every pair which you are going to take, in that pair the second element Y should be divisible by first element. So once again the set is given in a set builder form, convert into roster form so that you can see what are the elements and then come to an understanding. So this can be written as, let us say you begin with 1. We know that 1 divides 1. Similarly 1 divides 2, 1 divides 3, 1 divides 4, 1 divides 5, 1 divides 6. Every second element is divisible by first element. Similarly, start with 2, 2 divides 2, 2 divides 4, 2 divides 6. Start with 3, 3 divides 3, 3 divides 6. 4 divides 4, 4 does not divide any other number. 5 divides 5, 6 divides 6. So, these are the ordered pairs in this particular relation set. Now, by seeing these elements, we need to come to a conclusion whether it is reflexive, whether it is symmetric, whether it is transitive. Let us begin reflexive. Reflexive means what? Element is related to itself. If you say 1 is there, 1 is related to 1. You can see 1, 1 is there. R is reflexive. Why R is reflexive? Because you have got A comma A for all A belongs to the set. As I mentioned to you, when you are conforming a relation, you do not give example. It should be true for all. So, if you say 2 is an element, you have got 2, 2. If you say 3 is an element, you have got 3, 3. For 4, you have got 4, 4. For 5, you have got 5, 5. For 6, you have got 6, 6. So, all elements are related to themselves. So, it is reflexive. Let us move to the second one, symmetric. When do we say relation is symmetric? If two elements A and B, if A is related to B, B also should be related to A. Check that part. We have, let us say, 1, 3. Do you have 3, 1? Check in the list. Do you have 3, 1? We do not have 3, 1. One example is enough to say that it is not symmetric. You do not require many examples. We will say R is not symmetric. Why it is not symmetric? As 1 comma 3 belongs to R, but 3 comma 1 does not belong to R. So, it is not symmetric. In order to say not, one example is enough. Come to the transitivity. What is the transitive relation says? If A is related to B, if B is related to C, then A is related to C. Check for yourself. Let us say 1, 3, 1 is related to 3, 3, 3. 3 is related to 3, or let us say 3 is related to 6. Do we have 1 related to 6? Yes. Take another example, 1 is related to 2. Let us say 2 is related to 6. Do you have 1 related to 6? Yes. 1 is related to 4. 4 is related to 4. Do you have 1 related to 4? Yes. So, we find that the relation is transitive. Even for one element, if it is not true, we will say it is not transitive. But remember, we are confirming it is transitive, so we do not give example. So, how do we write? We say R is transitive as A comma B comma B comma C belongs to R. It implies that A comma C belongs to R. First element is related to second element is related to third element, and we find that first element is related to third element, and it is true for all A, B, C belongs to A. It is true for all. So, we say that the given relation is reflexive and transitive, but not symmetric. Let us move to the next problem. The next problem is a very interesting one. You need to think. He says, show that the relation R in set of real numbers. Remember, R is representing real numbers defined as problem number 2, R in real numbers. How does he define? R is equal to A comma B such that A is less than or equal to B square. is neither reflexive nor symmetric nor transitive. We want to prove that the given relation is neither reflexive nor symmetric nor transitive. He is asking us to confirm. Since you need to prove that it is not, for each case, if you give just one example, that should be good enough. Any example you can give from set of real numbers. Let us begin with, let A is equal to 1 by 2. One example, for reflexive one example, symmetric one example, transitive one more example. Okay. Let us say A is equal to 1 by 2. When do we say reflexive? A comma A. A should be related to A. So, A is equal to 1 by 2, and remember B is equal to A, means what is B here? A only. So, A square is equal to 1 by 2 square is equal to 1 by 4. So, what do you get? A is 1 by 2 less than or equal to 1 by 4 is not true. Why it is not true? 1 by 2 is 0.5, 1 by 4 is 0.25. So, you cannot say that 1 by 2 is less than 1 by 4. So, we conclude that R is not reflexive. I hope you understood. Take any example. So, A we are taking it as 1 by 2. If you substitute 1 by 2, here also A should come. So, 1 by 2 square it will become 1 by 4. 1 by 2 is less than or equal to 1 by 4, which is not true. So, it is not reflexive. Let us take another example for symmetric. Anything you can take. When do we say symmetric? If A is related to B, implies B is related to A. So, we can say that according to the given relation, 1 is less than or equal to minus 2 square. This is the relation, A is less than or equal to B square, which is true. 1 is less than or equal to minus 2 square. Why? Minus 2 square is 4, 1 is less than 4. It is true. Now check the opposite. But 2 is not less than or equal to minus 1 square. Why? Minus 1 square is 1. Minus 1 square is 1. You cannot say that 2 is less than 1. No doubt 1 is less than minus 2 square, but 2 is not less than minus 1 square. Conclusion, it is not symmetric. So, R is not symmetric. This was one example for reflexive. Here you should write, hence R is not reflexive. Here we concluded that R is not symmetric. This is another example. Take one more example in order to prove that it is not transitive. He himself said it is not transitive. We are just confirming it that it is not transitive by giving various examples. So, let us take one more example. Anything you can take. Remember, these are not fixed examples. You yourself can find some examples. There can be infinite number of answers for these questions. Only thing is, it should confirm. So, first one, we will say that 2 is less than 3 square. Let us say minus 3, so minus 3 square. A is 2, B is minus 3, C is 1, let us say, okay. So, A is 2. So, 2 we know that 2 is less than minus 3 square. Minus 3 square is how much? 9. 2 is less than 9. Take the next one. Minus 3 is less than 1 square. Minus 3 is less than 1 square. Now check for the first one and last one. Can we say, but 2 is not less than or equal to, it's only less than, yeah, less than or equal to 1 square. But 2 is not less than or equal to 1 square. So, this is one example to say that or to confirm that the given relation R is neither reflexive nor symmetric nor transitive. Let us take one more last problem for this session, and with that we will conclude this particular session. And as we keep doing problems, this concept of relations becomes more and more clear. Let us take up the next. The next problem appears to be much more simpler. Instead of b square, it is just b. As I mentioned, you can give any examples. It's not fixed. You don't need to by heart the examples. You yourself can find. What he says, show that the relation R in R, relation in set of real numbers defined as R equal to AB such that A is less than or equal to B, not B square, is, he says, is reflexive and transitive but not symmetric, is reflexive and transitive but not symmetric. Remember, AB belongs to R. Even though he has not mentioned, you can write it down that A comma B belongs to R. You can take any real number, positive number, negative number, fractions, anything can be taken. Begin. He says it is reflexive. How do you know it is reflexive? R is reflexive. Why it is reflexive? As A R A for all A belongs to R. A is related to A. How do you say that? For example, 2. Let us say we take A as 2. We know that 2 is less than or equal to 2. Since there is a symbol of less than or equal to, so equal to can be taken into consideration. So, 2 is equal to 2, 5 is equal to 5, 1 by 2 equal to 1 by 2, 2 by 3 equal to 2 by 3. So, we say that the relation is reflexive. As I mentioned, when you are confirming, you cannot give examples. Examples are for our understanding. Okay? So, let us move from here to the next one. He says it's not symmetric. Since he says it is not symmetric, one example can be given to confirm that. So, we will say R is not symmetric. Why it is not symmetric? As A R B, if A is related to B, does not imply B R A. Means with the same relation, B is not related to A. Take any two numbers, let us say 2, 3. We can say that example is, here we will give example because we are saying it is not. So, example 2 is less than or equal to 3. 2 is less than 3 we know, but 3 is not less than or equal to 2. And it is enough to say that it is not symmetric. Finally, what he wants us to prove? That it is transitive. Take 3 numbers, simple 3 numbers, 2, 3, 4. R is transitive as A R B, means if A is smaller than B, comma, B R C. If B is smaller than C, this confirms that A is smaller than C, and it is true for all A, B, C belongs to R. Take any 3 numbers 2, 3, 4. 2 is less than 3, 3 is less than 4, so 2 is less than 4. 10, 15, 20. 10 is less than 15, 15 is less than 20, so 10 is less than 20. So, in this particular way, for each example, you have to think and come out with answers. Problems are not going to be big, but every problem makes you think. So, this is one advantage of studying this particular chapter, where it makes you think. Your imagination, your creativity comes into forefront when you solve the problems of this exercise. We will continue this particular exercise in the next session, but this is the introduction about various types of relations. So, with this we close this session. Sai Ram.